Hello everyone, this is Chili back with another video for you. Today I was hoping to review this, the Phoenix Arms HP25, and I will, but I don't have all the equipment that I ordered. Some of it did come in, like this digital scale for weights, loaded, unloaded, some of these steel rulers, different sizes for measurements. This precision tool, so when I'm pointing at different parts of the firearm, you can see specifically what I'm talking about. I do have on back order a trigger pull gauge, which I'm hoping to come in soon. So I didn't want to do a full in-depth review without it. So for now, I figured I can show everyone my ammo collection. Now it's not a huge ammo collection by any means, but I do have a couple of interesting pieces in there. So I'll get started. I have a couple of snap caps here. That's who I showed in my the comparison in my first video, the Tipton, and I can't remember the name of this other one here. But these are pretty neat, pretty cool. This one's chambered for 9mm. This one's for 38 special. I do have a laser round. This is actually used for practice. You would put, sorry about that, battery in here. Screw this back on. Sorry, I'm trying to do this from an awkward position looking through the camera here. And you would screw it on almost all the way. This way it has a little play, so when the firing pin strikes, it activates the laser. Doesn't have a battery in there now, but and this way you can use it to shoot at reactive targets. They have these little cans with these little windows where if the laser hits it, the bottom pops up the stem and it kind of throws the can back, kind of like if you were plinking at soda cans or something like that outside. So it's a pretty cool tool. Maybe I'll do a review on that later on. Up next, I have a shot shell from CCI, 9mm. A lot of these rounds, to be honest, I might not shoot through my firearms ever, but I think they're pretty neat, and I do want to get into collecting different type of ammunition. So, you know, I figured, you know, one of every one for now, just a showcase, will be pretty cool. So yeah. Up next, we have a 22, and this is like a black copper coating. This is a lead underneath, but the coating is not lead. It's supposed to be a black copper coating, from what I understand, which is great because when you shoot lead through a firearm, for those of you that don't know, yeah, it's faster because the lead is slicker through the barrel instead of copper, but it fouls up the barrel with lead, and it is a pain in the neck to clean afterwards. So I do not like shooting lead through my firearm. Up next we have, if I can get it out of the case here, standard ball ammo. I believe this is in 32 ACP. And I do also want to point out that I have, let me get a couple of these here. Not only do I collect the ammo for the different projectiles, but also the different casings. So you have some that are copper, some that are aluminum, some that are steel. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Up next one, what we have it here, is a solid copper projectile, hollow point, chambered in 40. I mean, look at that. That is a deep hollow point right there. Up next, this is something pretty neat. I got it from a cop buddy of mine. Let's focus here. Yeah, so Speer makes this 9mm, and this is actual training ammo. Not to shoot at each other with. They do have ammo for that, but this is I guess the inside of it is, it's not a hollow point, but it's hollow, so it implodes into itself, or fragments. It doesn't ricochet, in other words. So they do close quarters training with this, and when they have to shoot at objects at close quarters, they don't have to worry about it ricocheting and hitting and hurting them. Neat little, training tool here. Well, here's the round I wanted to show you earlier, because there is a difference between the steel and the aluminum casings right here. So these two on the left and middle are the aluminum, and this darker here is steel. Wolf, this is Wolf ammo here. And you have two different kinds of ball. Well, there's a lot, but two main ones you'll see out there. This 9mm, that's a little more, has a point to it. It's still considered ball ammo. And 45, that's just a lot more bulbous, or a lot more rounder of a projectile there. Now, before I get into these, I have two more type of hollow points. One is actually a HydroShock, and I don't know if you can see it in there. It's hard to tell, but there's a little stem in there, and it's supposed to help with the round that's expanding more. And here you have a more of a traditional hollow point. Here you have two more hollow points. Both of them are, let me get this to focus, sorry about that. Both of them are semi-jacketed hollow point, which means that you have, let me get this here. You have the copper jacket that comes partially up, and the rest of it is exposed lead. They're both hollows, as you can see. Interesting how the copper jacket doesn't come up as high as the other one. Not sure why that is. If anybody wants to chime in, please do so. Pretty neat there. And also, this is great if you want the performance of exposed lead, but you don't want to foul up your barrel. You have the I mean, it won't move as fast. Like I said, the exposed lead moves faster, and you'll have the jacket contacting the rifling and the barrel, but you'll have the performance of the lead hollow. So it's kind of best of both worlds there. Here you have a truncated round. It's a lead copper jacketed round, but the front is flat or truncated. These next three are pretty neat, I think, anyway. This one's, oh, I'm sorry, put this down. This one's from G2 Research, and it looks like a truncated 9mm, but it actually is, if I can get this, see that smiley face there? That's pretty cool. This is actually tracer rounds, and I know typically your tracer rounds have some, I'm not sure what the paint is, but it's some sort of paint that glows when it fires, when it's fired out of the gun and flying down range. But this is actually heat activated, so on the inside of the projectile on the back has this coating that's activated with the heat of the round being fired, and that's what activates the coating and shows the glow as it's fired down range, which is also, they say, is safe for paper targets and indoor ranges. So I haven't tried it myself. I'm not sure. This stuff is pretty expensive, and I just buy some of it, you know, like I said, to collect. Some of the stuff I'll never shoot in my firearms. Some of it I will, but yeah, this is pretty neat, I thought. Next up is also from G2 Research, and this is one of my cooler ones. This is called an RIP round from G2 Research, and it does not stand for rest in peace. I know, you know, it seems like it would, but it doesn't. This is actually, it stands for radically invasive projectile, and the how it's supposed to perform is that these pieces here, once it enters, oh, and there's plenty of videos out there with guys doing ballistics gel tests, so you can see the performance of this. You know, go check those out, but I'll explain it to you now. These, when shot into its target, or you know, ballistics gel, break off and kind of like spread out, but there is a solid base in the inside that stays whole. So you'll have the one projectile hitting its target and flying straight through, but the rest of them will branch off and kind of spread out a little bit on there. It's pretty interesting stuff there. Next up is another very interesting one, works a little differently, but this is from Lehigh Defense, and this is a 220 grain all copper, I'm sorry, yeah, all copper. They have some brass ones. I'm thinking of the brass ones. No, this is all copper, hollow point. This is only for the judge or the governor revolvers. This is a massive beast. These petals are almost an inch long. I think it's 0.90 inches long. So the idea is, there's 4 of them. When it's shot and it hits its target, these petals will open up 4 ways, forming a cross, and you'll have almost 2 inches across, vertically and horizontally, of just wound channel. It's devastating stuff. Again, there's videos out there of guys testing this on different objects. Definitely go check that out. But this is really neat, and you're only able to shoot this out of the judge or the governor, because the cylinders of those revolvers are a lot longer to accept the 410 shotgun shells. So if you were to take a normal size, put these down, a normal size 45 long Colt, and this, it's a lot longer. So any other revolver chambered in 45, and only for 45, the projectile will stop in the cylinder right before it, and won't allow for this Lehigh Defense ammo to be loaded in there, because it'll protrude out. So this Lehigh Defense stuff is only for the Taurus Judge or the Smith & Wesson Governor. Next up, I have two 223 rounds. A very basic one is, you know, ball ammo, but it's definitely a lot pointier than your handgun ammo. So that's why I have them there. And this is a hollow point, but it has this plastic or polymer plug there, supposed to help get through denim or any layer of clothing without clogging up, and then expanding inside of its target in a gel or whatever have you. But yeah, these are two neat rounds there. The rest of these will be shotgun ammo. So I have some pretty cool rubber buck, which is you know, for those of you that don't know, it's non-lethal ammo. And I have some out, actually. I cut one open so you could see them, and they're just little, I'll pick that one up later, they're just little rubber pellets. See how they flex? And I've never been shot by one, but from what I understand, these hurt a ton. Won't kill you, but it'll definitely send a message. Next up is some birdshot. And for those of you new to ammunition, birdshot is this tiny little BBs or pellets, and they come in steel, they come in lead, they come in copper jacketed lead, and they're tiny little BBs. These are good for trap and skeet. It's called birdshot for a reason. You know, you hunt bird with it. But yeah, definitely not recommended for home defense. I would not use this for home defense. This will hurt like hell, but it probably not kill them, probably just piss them off more. And for those of you who are into this, it's inhumane, which I kind of get. But all right, moving right along, I have some buckshot, which is similar to the buckshot you saw earlier, which is rubber, but these are basically just bigger pellets in lead, jacketed lead, and this is lethal. These pellets are about the size each of a 9mm round. So typically you'll have maybe, let's see if this one says how many it has. Doesn't say, but typically you'll have about 7 or 9 of these. So you're basically getting shot with 7 or 9mm rounds at the same time. So definitely wouldn't want to get hit one of those. Next up is a slug, shotgun slug. Now this is basically, I have one out for you to see. It's basically just a giant 1-ounce hunk of lead. It's hollow in the back, and this is, let me just get you a 9mm round to compare. Look at that. Look at that. That is, man, you want to stop something, this is what you use. And lastly, I have PDX round. It's actually pretty interesting because it's a combination of slug and buck. What it is the slug will sit up top, and right below it you have a few buck. Some of them are pellets, some of them are birdshot, I'm sorry, some of them are birdshot, some of them are buck. I can't remember which one this comes in, but yeah, and so you have the combination of both. This is definitely a home defense round. Yeah, that'll also definitely stop someone in its tracks. And that is it, everyone. Thank you for watching. Like I said, once I get that that trigger pull gauge, I am definitely going to be doing a full-on review of this thing. I'm gonna field strip it, put it back together, explain everything in detail, the safeties, the functions, the features, the safety modifications that are out there that I have made to this gun, and so on and so forth. So please stay tuned. Next video coming up will definitely be the review of this. All right, everyone, take care, be safe, bye.